The other day, when I was working on the new train tunnel and platform covering for the Lego City right over there below the campground, I accidentally made it 32 studs too long. And ever since we started working on the campground, I have yet to test fit all the different sections. Could you imagine if I finished building it and then discovered that, oh no, this is the wrong size. We have to rebuild this entire section. That would suck. So I think today is the day where I'm going to test fit it, because I think if there are mistakes, we need to find them now, because that's going to save us a bunch of time in the end. And I already hauled a bunch of modules down there to test run the train, so I don't see any harm in doing the same with these additional modules. And it always just feels so good doing things like this, because I've been working on this upstairs for so long, and it's like, I want to see this in the Lego City. So it's an exciting day, everybody. The first ones I'm going to place are the 3 that go on the other side of the train track by the river there. And of course, that's where we have the bridge that connects to the gravel road, and that eventually connects to another bridge that goes over the train track and leads toward the campground. And now I'm going to start placing some of the campground modules, starting with the far end there next to the tunnel. And I do have to move the overhanging mills plate, that being the dark bluish gray one, with the Twilight House just a smidge. Gonna have to realign that entire platform. I also want to remove some of the train track there to make space for the monster panel. This one is huge. It is 25 inches by 30 inches, so it's a little bit difficult to place, and it's definitely a little bit sketchy. But Mrs. Bricksie and I, we actually use one of our LAC tables. It's like one of the square tables that used to support Lego sets. Like, we stacked 2 of them to create our own shelf. And it works as a perfect surface for moving this giant module. So we just lift it up through the access point and eventually slide it in place alongside the other modules. Definitely sketchy, but wow, that was rewarding. We got it there safely. It is a big one. It's rather difficult to move, but you know what? It's actually pretty rock solid, and it was a lot easier than anticipated. The next thing I need to do is just reconnect all the train track that was removed to make space for that giant module. I think those are the easiest modules to slide in place, so it made sense to leave them for last, and then finally connect the bridge to the campground. Wow, everybody, I just gave Mrs. Bricksie like 4 high fives, and I have just been like on cloud 9 about this campground and the way that it's looking in the city right now. Oh, this is awesome. It's sort of exactly what I had in mind, like exactly what I was envisioning for this campground, having lots of flat spots for tent sites, lots of like cliff ridges, and then some open spots for like campers and stuff. And it's fed by the road. Glad we got rid of the tunnel there. I think that was going to consume a lot of space and not look that good, and nobody wants to camp by a tunnel, although there's the train tunnel over there. We've got lots of space for campers everywhere. And you know what? I'm really happy that we decided to place it today, because we need to make some slight modifications and additions along the back here. You can see the height difference between the campground and the back mills plates, which are up on that wooden raised platform. Well, we need to blend all of that in. Could you imagine if I came in here and I made campsites and campfires and all this different detail, and then I was like, oh no, I've got to rip all that out to blend in the height difference. And, you know, that wouldn't have been good. So actually, now that I have moved it down here, I realize that the next building stage of this did involve placing it. At first I was like, maybe we shouldn't be placing it. It's not worth it. We'll have to haul everything back upstairs. But now I realize it was actually a must in the building process of this giant campground mock. So we're still going to run with the cave idea. I have more of these rock panels at home. They actually arrived today. I got the notification on my phone, so that's good. But we're going to build this cave in here. That's why this is still open. And then I need to do some blending over here, but I knew this would be the case. I've got to blend in this sidewalk. This sidewalk is probably going to go, and that's going to be part of like the hill going up in the residential area. I think this entire platform has to move over a smidge. Remember when I first started building this, I was talking about how there was a little bit of misalignment happening, and I wasn't sure about the placement of this, but I just built it to the exact parameters anyway, and I was like, we'll worry about that later. But once I placed it, it actually all worked out. Like, everything is coming together quite nicely. Once I build this up and move this platform that's super heavy over, I think everything will work out perfectly with the sort of Lego grid or the Mills plate grid. Wow, I'm just like so happy with the outcome of this. Oh my gosh, like that is awesome. Another thing I need to take care of like right away, I think, is blending in the rest of this here. Obviously we started doing that over here. It looks great, it still needs all those details, but I need to get the rough draft all in here, and then I still need to connect this road across. The next thing I want to do is just blend this in here. It's looking pretty Mills plate-ish, right? You can see all the supporting brick, and there's a pretty big gap there. I think the easiest way to work on this area remotely in the Lego City is just to bring down a drawer with an assortment of parts and work on it section by section. So here we have a selection of colorful and green brick. And the after actually looks substantially better. Pretty happy with that. Obviously, we still got to do a bunch of blending work and a bunch of detail work here. I did leave a section open because there is going to be a gravel road that's going to feed down there. I'm going to do it the same way I did it on the other side. I'm going to continue working on more blending. Going to have to restock our parts there because the next section that we're going to work on is right over here. Once again, we can see all that Mills plate. I think it's going to be super satisfying to fill this big gap in. So here it is before and here it is after. Yeah, even though it is Minecraft-ish, I think that change in itself has just elevated the look of this area substantially. Pretty happy with it. It's been a while since we've had a look at the Lego City from a drone's perspective, so here we go. We may as well get it fired up and have a look. And you know, it makes a huge difference getting these like rough drafted modules put into the countryside. I feel like the countryside has so many different levels of elevation, but a lot of it is like exposed wood platform. And the more that we get done, the better and better it looks. But I can't stress it enough that none of the landscaping that you see here, like where those palm trees are, the trees beside the shed, even that hill, or everything around the Winnie the Pooh house and the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs and the A-frame cabin, is not done yet. We still need to do the final layer of detail that includes vegetation, minifigures, and stories, and all that different type of stuff throughout this entire Lego City. But if you've been following me for quite some time, you know that's how I sort of do things. I always do it in different stages, and it took a long time to get to that final detail stage in the old Lego City when it was in the basement. I love this though. We're following that high-speed passenger train with the drone as it makes its way through that tunnel underneath the elevated platform, which will be a mountain, through the train station, around the corner, past the smaller section of downtown, around the amusement park, past the other train line there, of course, and everything else that needs to be constructed in this area, under another raised platform, under the Winter Village, and proceeding back toward the train tunnel. I love seeing this, but you got to think, everywhere that train passes underneath a raised platform, that's another spot where I need to build another tunnel, another mountain, and we need to just continue working on those details. But hey, one step at a time. I think placing the campground was a huge stepping stone. And I was telling Mrs. Bricksie that, you know what, I don't think we're going to bring these modules back upstairs. I think we're just going to work on it in place, just like I did with the little green sections there. If I need to bring a small selection of parts down to add slope detail or to create vegetation, we can pre-build it all and then go down there and place it. If we need to texture the gravel road, we can just bring the parts down there and do it right from the access points. If we can't reach, which for the most part you can because I made it a 70-inch platform, so it's only a 35-inch reach, then we can just remove certain modules and slide them closer and work on them, or bring one up at a time. But I like the visual of having it in the city, and I think it's going to be a lot more fun to build it in the city. And I think it's going to be easier as well because we can truly visualize what it's going to look like in the surrounding area. So Mrs. Bricksie and I have actually been working on mini builds behind the scenes. We're working on building campfires, tents, water pumps, wood caches, essentially anything that you would find in a campground. And we've got quite a few mini builds from the old campground, and we're working on building more. Plus we have all the RVs and stuff, but we're trying to just accumulate as many as possible, so when we go to detail this thing, we can get it all done in one shot. But we've been working on that sort of behind the scenes amongst other things for the last week or so. There we go, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this update. I love it. That's the campground place. I hope you like the aerial shots. Please remember to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for some more great stuff coming out in the near future. And have yourselves a great day. Bye for now.